So 36 years ago, I graduated from high school at Benton Community. I went to elementary school. Okay, my name is Byran Kimm. I am the general manager of the telephone company here in town. And I graduated from Benton Community High School in 1980. So 36 years ago, I graduated from high school at Benton Community. I went to elementary school here in Keystone. I've lived in Keystone somewhere or another all my life. So at that time, when I came to Keystone, I was here with kindergarten through 6th grade. Then in 7th and 8th, we took a bus to Newhall. In 9th grade, we came back to Keystone in one of these buildings that is not here anymore. It's tore down. And then 10th through 12th, we went over to Van Horn for high school. I started, I believe my kindergarten year was 1967, so that would have been the second year that Benton Community was formed, that all the towns came together and formed Benton Community.
What are the towns, Byran?
Yeah, so they first started off, it was Keystone, Van Horn, Newhall, Blairstown, and that was it. The second year, Byran and Atkins came aboard. Those were the 6 towns of Benton Community. Now, quite a bit later, after that, in 1992 or 93, Norway and Watkins joined. But when I was in school, that was a whole different school district. So we played against them in sports and stuff instead of them being with us. Just a little bit here before we go to questions. Here's some of the pictures of the old school. This part of the building is the gymnasium that's out there, the gym. So that's part here. All of this right here was 4th through 6th grade down here and 9th grade up above. And then the cafeteria was way on the other end. So the building that we're in right now that you guys have classes down here, that was kindergarten through 3rd grade. So this year, when they went back to kindergarten through 3rd grade, they brought it back to the same way it was when I went to elementary school here. And 3rd grade classes, the way they are today, was the way they were back then. 2nd grade the same, 1st grade the same. The only difference was kindergarten was only in one of those classrooms because we did not go to kindergarten all day. We had a morning class and an afternoon class. Evidently we weren't bright enough to go all day, so we only went a half a day. The other room there was, I think, just a resource room. So that was kind of funny that everything came back when I went to school here. So in these pictures here then, if you would keep going this direction, you would stay down below. We had a music room and a home ec room for 9th grade. And then we kept on going all the way down to the end, which the lunchroom was. And back then, they had a kitchen. So they cooked the food here. Every school had their own kitchen. So unlike today where they bring it all from Van Horn, we had our own cooks here and everything. If you were in kindergarten through 3rd grade, you went to lunch pretty much the same time as that. The 4th through 6th graders went at the same time, and then the 9th graders. And they separated us. No 4th through 6th graders or 9th graders would go past the gym, so they would not get down there. 4th and 6th would stay in their level. 9th graders could not come down to that level or they would get in trouble too. Kind of like you'll see when you get over to junior high and high school, how they separate the classes over there. We did that all back then, so they're not reinventing the wheel now. They're just doing the same stuff. So these are just kind of some pictures of the buildings. Everything from this direction that way is tore down. It's no longer here. The houses that set right out here, that's where the buildings were. On the other side there, that was gym or recess stuff, playground, like jungle gyms and if you know what that is, swing sets, and we actually had a cement basketball court. And then we have a house over here, and that's where we always used to play kickball and baseball and stuff like that. The big tree that we cut down was home plate, so we remember it well.
Well, we cut it down because it fell on our garage.
Well, that one did fall on our garage, so we had to cut it. We had to cut that one out.
Perfect.
How old is the school?
How old is the school? The school that main one here was here when I started in 1967. So I know it's at least 36 years old, and it's probably a few years older than that. This library, I think, was built in the early 70s when I was in elementary. It's a little bit older part.
The oldest part of the school isn't here anymore. That's been torn
Yes.
down.
And that was really old, like real old.
What were your teachers like?
What was my teachers like? Well, just like you guys, they were all different. We had some teachers that we thought were a little strict, and then we had some teachers that maybe we didn't think were so strict. But I learned a lot from all of my teachers, and they were all fair, and they all cared a lot about us, just like they do today.
Was there a lost and found?
Yes, there was a lost and found. I'm sure there was. And I probably lost a lot of things, so I'm sure there was a lost and found. So, yep.
No.
Was the high school in the same place or was it different?
The high school now is different than when I went to high school. The high school today was built, I believe, in 1982. So in 1980, that part is tore down. If you ever in Van Horn, that's where all the playground equipment is. That's where the high school part, and then where the elementary used to be, that was also part of the high school when I went.
Van Horn Elementary is
Yep,
now.
we called it the East Wing. So we went down to the east. So, yep.
Are some of the teachers still here you have?
No.
Uh-uh.
No. Several of them are still alive, but no, there's nobody that taught that is still teaching today. But there is some that just retired a few years ago from the middle school and the high school area. They were my teachers, like Mr. Van Etten, who retired a few years ago, and I'm not sure who else. I can't remember who else. So, yep.
What did you do in school? What's your favorite subject?
My favorite subject was probably math. I like math the best. My dad liked math the best, so I probably like math the best. My mom was good at spelling. I didn't take after her too well. Yes, math was my best class. Right here.
How many rooms were there in
How many rooms? So where you guys are at today, those 8 rooms were there. We didn't have that new addition out to the north where I think you have, I don't know which classes are there. Then we had several rooms up that way. We probably had another 8 classrooms for 4th through 6th. And then when we got up above for 9th grade, we probably had another 8 classrooms up there for different stuff. So hard to remember all of it back there. Yep.
If you had to go to the principal's office, would you get hit with a paddle?
I had to go to the principal's office, would I get hit with a paddle? Well, of course, I was such a good student. Never. No. I don't remember going there too much. I don't think our principal ever used a paddle. But I'm not so sure that you didn't get a spanking back then. That was probably pretty common. I can't ever remember getting a spanking, but I was probably on the fearful side back then. So.
What time did school start and end at?
Pretty much the same as you have today. I think we started around 8:15, so maybe a little bit later. And I think it was 3:15 back then. Is it still 3:15 today?
Yeah.
Didn't change much in 36 years, did it?
Except buses.
By the table, yep. Yep.
Did you like it here?
I did like it here. I lived in town, so all I had to do was walk to school. So yes, I like my teachers and I like my classrooms. I very much did. Yep.
What did the playground look like?
What did the playground look like? Wow. Well, we didn't have a city park that you have today with all that kind of playground equipment. We had swings like you have. We had teeter-totters, like they call them. We had what we call jungle gyms where you just climbed up on top of stuff. But you know, over there where if you fall in a crushed area of either rock or whatever, we fell on hard asphalt, like cement.
The streets made out of?
The streets made out of, they didn't quite think about if you fell. And we fell a lot back then, so, yeah. So we had a lot of stuff like you have today, only we didn't have the cushion you had when we fell back then. We just had to toughen it out.
Was the high school always kind of better feeling?
Was the high school? It was ever since I've been in school. Yep, the high school's always been Benton Community. Like I say, it joined, Benton Community became Benton the year before I started going to school. So yes, ever since I have, it was Benton Community. Yep.
What was it like before that, though?
Before that, before Benton Community was formed, Keystone in this one school was its high school. It was Keystone High School, and it was either kindergarten or 1st through 12th grade.
Same for
And
Elbron.
same thing for Elbron and Newhall and Blairstown and Atkins and everybody. And the difference was there was a lot less people. So instead of having a class the size of 100 and some, they might have had a class the size of 25 or 20 or 15, something like that. So, right here.
What was your favorite part of the day?
Recess, of course.
That's mine.
I like gym class too, of course, and lunch. Always like lunch.
Yeah.
Same thing as you guys like today. What did I do at recess? Well, we played a lot of kickball, foursquare. Do you guys still do foursquare?
Yeah.
We did that. We would throw a football around. Sometimes we'd shoot a basketball. We did pretty much the same kind of stuff that you guys do today. It hasn't changed a whole lot.
Did you have desks or lockers?
So in K through 3rd, we didn't have any lockers that I remember. Maybe in 3rd. I can't remember that well. We did have desks though. And we had desks where the chairs were built right onto the desk. And they were wooden. They were wood. They were not plastic or what they are today. But they still, the lid lifted up and you put that. And then as we got older, some were tables and some were desks.
So did you have hooks to hang your hooks on them?
Yeah, probably hooks in the room somewhere. I'm sure we got lockers. I just don't remember them in the elementary, but I'm sure they were there. I know they were for 3rd grade and probably 2nd. I know we had them up above, so I just don't remember so much. Yep, right here.
Did you guys play baseball and kickball on like a baseball diamond?
Yeah, sometimes that same baseball field that's there today, we had that then, so we used that, but a lot of times we did it up above and out in the area back behind. It was more of our playground area.
Did you have the same mascot?
Did we have the same mascot? Yes, we did. I don't know when the mascot started.
Yeah.
3rd grade, my 3rd grade teacher was Mrs. Free. And she was a very nice teacher. She was probably, I thought at the time, a little strict, but also very caring. She really cared a lot about her students.
Who was your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher. Well, I had 2 favorite teachers. My 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Peterson, was one of my favorite teachers. And then I had a teacher in 6th grade that came when I was in 6th, and she left and went right to 7th grade when we went to 7th, which was Mrs. Grover. And she was also one of my favorite teachers. So probably Mrs. Peterson was my favorite.
Did you guys have lunch tickets?
Did we have lunch tickets? I'm sure we did. Yeah, they would have been the punch that they punched, and they were paper. They were never laminated. I think the teachers, we had them. The teachers just kept a hold of them in elementary, and then as we got older, we had to be responsible enough to have them. So, yep, we always had lunch tickets. So.
Your favorite school lunch?
My favorite school lunch. Oh boy. We had a few good ones. We always had the chili. And with that, we had a cinnamon roll, so that was always, that hasn't changed a whole lot. They actually made a really good goulash in Newhall at that one. I can't honestly say the Keystone goulash was as good, but the Newhall cooks were better. That goulash was really good over there. And of course, your hot dogs and hamburgers were always good too.
Yeah. Did you have art class?
Did I have art class? Yes, I'm sure I did sometime during it. I'm trying to think where the art class even was.
Art and music and all that.
Yes, we had music for sure. We might have had just art class in our own classrooms. I don't ever remember a special art teacher in K through 3rd or K through 6th, but I'm sure we did somewhere. Yep.
Like, what were the consequences for getting in trouble?
What were the consequences? Well, of course, remember, I never got in trouble. So, no. Well, you had several consequences. You either put your head down on your desk and was quiet. They actually stood us in a corner. You went and stood in a corner, and you were quiet and didn't move around. You may had to go to the principal's office. That one you really didn't want to do because you were in really big trouble if you had to go to the principal's office. But really what was big back then, if you got in big enough trouble where you had to go to the principal's office, you also, at home, they found out that you got in trouble, and you got in just as much trouble when you got home.
Oh,
And that's probably the biggest changes from today to when I was younger. What was the principal's name? My principal was Don Andrews. He was my principal through up till 6th grade, and unfortunately, he died in a car crash my 6th grade year. Yep. So I don't even remember who the principal was my 9th grade year when I came back over here. We had Mr. Hawk too, and he was a principal for a little bit. I just don't remember, I guess, back then.
What was your recess like?
What was my recess like? Well, I always remember it was never long enough. So, you were never out there long enough. But that's, I'm sure that's the way it is now. We did the same stuff you guys did. We played kickball and we did stuff like that. So,
Is it about 20 minutes too, approximately?
I think 20 minutes or so was recess time. So, yep.
Which sport did you play in?
What sports did I play in? Well, I wrestled in high school. In junior high, I did wrestling, and in junior high we were what they called intramurals, so we didn't go and travel like they do today. So I did about every sport there was. I did basketball, wrestling, football, track. I did everything I could. When I got up to high school, it was pretty much down to wrestling. Believe it or not, when I was in school, I was really a small guy. I didn't weigh a whole lot, so I didn't play football and some of the rougher sports.
Did you have science class?
Yes, we did have science class. We had science class with our home teacher in kindergarten through 3rd, and then when we went to 4th through 6th, we actually had a science teacher, and she taught all of the 4th grade, all of the 5th, and all of the 6th. And we had a math teacher who taught all of the 4th, all of the 5th, and all of the 6th. And then your homeroom teacher taught you language arts and spelling and stuff like that. So where maybe you guys were getting, well, you're a little bit younger, the older kids were getting to where they had different teachers doing that a few years back. We did that way, way, way long time. So.
How many recesses did you have?
How many Reese's did we have? Oh, God, I bet you we had to have at least 7 or no. I think we had one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I'm sure that was pretty much it. Only 2.
What was the other part of the school like?
What was the other part of the school like? Well, it was much older, much older. So we had a lot more stairs. We had to go up steps quite a bit. We had to go to a 2nd floor and back and forth. And then when we were in 9th grade, we had to go up to the 3rd floor. So we had to go way up above. We had to walk through an area where there was an old boiler room where they had the furnace and stuff, where they used to heat the school in a different way back then, with heated water actually. So that was back in there. It was just older and maybe a little bit more worn out by the time I got to it.
Did you guys have a Bobcat pledge?
Did we have a Bobcat pledge? I don't remember a Bobcat pledge, but I'm sure we had rules wrote down somewhere. on what we were supposed to do. Like I said, well, it was just getting going where it was Bobcats. So I'm sure we had we had rules. I don't think it was called a Bobcat Pledge yet by then, but we knew what we could do and what we could not do. Yep.
Did you have to learn cursive?
Oh, yes, we had to learn cursive. Yep. We had to learn how to write straight out, and we used the lines, and you stayed within those lines. You didn't go above, and you didn't go below, or you got in trouble. And then, yes, we had to learn cursive. And I'm not very good at cursive, so evidently I didn't. They did not have whiteboards invented back then yet, so we were strictly chalkboards. They had bulletin boards, or made out of cork, but pretty much everything was wrote on a chalkboard.
And you use pencil and paper mostly for your
And we
daily
used
work?
pencil and paper, number 2 pencil and paper. Yep.
What was your worst school lunch?
My worst school lunch? Oh boy. Well, I wasn't a big rice eater back then, so I probably didn't like it when they served rice. And of course, I wasn't big on vegetables as I am today. Yes. So, and of course, back then we had a lunch lady that kind of went around and said, "You need to try everything, and you need to eat some of that." So, of course, we didn't. When you had to try something you probably didn't think you liked, we had to do that. So, unfortunately, some of that lunch might end up where it shouldn't have. But anyway.
So Keystone, Byron, what was the Keystone mascot? I know you started it with the community, but
I don't remember having a mascot
The
here.
Keystone.
We were the Keystone Comets.
the Van
That's
Horn.
where we are now. Yeah, the soccer team.
Van Horn.
Van Horn was
Hornets, is that
Hornets.
right?
Yeah, the Hornets. Yes.
Yeah.
And we were Comets with a K, not with a C. So
Right.
Keystone Comets.
Norway were the Tigers.
They were always the Tigers, I believe.
I thought Van Horn was. Blairstown Cardinals. Yeah, Blairstown Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what all the other.
So as we wrap up today, would you do a chant with us? Just kind of a cheer. Would you say, "I'm a Bobcat," and then we'll say it back to you.
All right. I'm a Bobcat.
Again.
I'm a Bobcat.
What do you guys tell Byron for coming today?
Thank you.